We'll now discuss the need for entrepreneurship development programs. Entrepreneurship development programs, or EDP, is very much essential for first generation entrepreneurs because proper training and guidance will help them get to success or to the place of success. But is it only needed for the first generation entrepreneurs? Entirely not. Seasoned entrepreneurs can also avail helps of EDPs to equip themselves and to make themselves much more knowledgeable in the business and to branch out or to get financial help, legal help, or whatever the need might be. Anyone and everyone can make use of EDP programs. That is the goal here. So there are some needs, basic needs that are stated here for your knowledge. And the first one is eliminating poverty and unemployment. As we all know, poverty and unemployment, especially in India, is a big no-no. It's a very big problem, and especially during a pandemic time, during COVID time, the need for EDP actually has increased. Once we come out of this pandemic, once things resume back to normal, once colleges open up, and once mm, mm, let's take your seniors for example. Most of them have attended job interviews and they're waiting for their final exams and the results to get into the job, or many of them have had ideas to inherit their family business, or some of them had entrepreneurial ideas. So after pandemic, how does pandemic affect those business ventures, especially entrepreneurial ventures, new ideas? How does pandemic affect those ideas? Their EDPs might prove very helpful. The guidance of EDPs might prove very helpful. So once they reach out and once they get help from these agencies, they might be able to, these EDPs might prove to be a stepping stone for those business ventures. All right. And once you're employed, once you start businesses, and once you start churning out money, your economy develops. And once your economy develops, poverty elevation is automatically done, right? So we are in need of a lot of entrepreneurs. We are short of a lot of entrepreneurs, and once we start having those entrepreneurial ventures, we'll automatically move towards growth rate and um, further down the line, poverty elevation. Next point is balanced regional development and growth. So one of the objectives of setting up public enterprises is to promote balanced regional development. It can be only possible through expansion of employment opportunities in backward regions. Okay, so the pace of economic development of different states and region in any country, or our country for that matter, has not been uniform over the years, owing to historical reasons and current current pandemic, whatever the reason might be. It has not been uniform, and there are also a number of other factors, but the basic line is nothing is uniform, and industrialization plays an important role in correcting the regional imbalance and also accelerating the industrial growth. But how do you get this industrialization? Industrialization is motivated by EDP. Okay, so in order to remove this regional inequalities and to encourage balanced industrial growth of different states or different regions, subsidies to industries set up in backward districts. So successful EDPs help in faster industrialization. So once you populate a particular region with a particular product, once a region is known for a particular product, automatically there'll be a lot of entrepreneurs popping up in and out. And once the region becomes very famous, it will start churning out a lot of money. And once it starts churning out a lot of money, economy basically develops there. Okay, and the third one is preventing industrial slumps. So the Indian economy, which over the last 6 or 7 decades, has passed through various phases of growth. There's been freedom struggle, after which a new government, and then industrialization was brought in by the Nehru government, and then we hit a down low when there was drought, when there was 76, when there was a drought and famine, we hit a down low, and then there comes green revolution, and after green revolution there's a change in agriculture industry, and slowly we move towards the internet age, and we get into the silicon side, we get into the IT side, and we lose touch of agriculture. And now uh, people are urbanization is the trend. People are moving towards urban regions. People are going back to rural areas in dreams of having a organic farm. But how many organic farms are successful is questionable, and how many farms are organic is also questionable. So there has been highs and lows, and there has been lots of phases, right? So but today we need to have high expansion because there's also high population is bursting, and we need to have high expansion. So according to recent census, a lot of people, nearly 42 million people, live in slums. This is according to the 2001 census. Think about the 2011 census, and we are hitting the 10th year mark now. Census might be released in the next year, upcoming year, because the pandemic situation might even take longer. But we'll get a census in few years, in 2 or 3 years, and in all likelihood, there's going to be millions and millions of people living in slums. So a lot of people, a lot of percentage, nearly about 15 to 20% of total urban population of the country are living in slums. So decentralization of industry is very much required for locating these industries. These EDPs will help in removing industrial slums, as entrepreneurs are provided with various schemes and subsidies, incentives to bring up infrastructural facilities, and also employ human resources from those slums and bring up the society in all right, bring up the region, bring the second point, coming back to the second point, you balance the regional development and you balance the regional growth. All right. Next point is harnessing locally available resources. Human beings have inhabited the earth. We have used the resources. We have overused those resources. We have outdated some of those resources. We have manipulated those resources. We have insulted resources, whatnot. But the natural process using those resources, human being using those resources, is the natural process, and it is our responsibility also to organize, project, and manage the environment which we share with fellow living things, right? This might sound preachy, but it is also important, because when we think of future, we also think about our future generations, and we have to think about what we leave, what is our legacy to future generation. Is it just going to be wasteland and no resources for those future generations, or are we going to leave concrete resources with which they can work on, right? Next is diffusing social tension. Once you start running your own business, once you start providing, let's go back to the second point where balanced regional development and growth is concerned. Once you start a business and once you employ your region, people from your region, human resources from your region, and once you bring up your region, there's going to be less of social tension, because everyone is going to come together, everyone is going to work together. See, there's also one big problem in India in terms of entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship is always linked to communities, because there are communities which specialize in certain jobs and certain businesses, and it's a roadblock, it's a mind block in most of the Indians' minds, that only certain people from certain communities can pursue certain business ventures. So once you start working together, once you come together as a region, once you come together as people to work on certain business venture, this social tension might diffuse. It might take time, it will take time, but it will diffuse. Right? Next is capital formation. It is one of the most critical activities in getting a business started. Business creation has moved a lot from the days of uh, party system and all that, just moved past that. Now raising initial capital is where the business lies. So how do you get the equity, or how do you get the resources from the family? That's a skill in itself. Next point is improvement in per capita income. Entrepreneurs play a vital role in achieving a higher rate of economic growth. Entrepreneurs are able to produce goods at lower cost and supply good quality products and services at a lower price to the community according to their requirements. Small time entrepreneurs, this particular point is about small time entrepreneurs, so this helps in improving the per capita income. And finally, facilitating overall development. So entrepreneurial development programs are great and successful in India because there are lots of people, lots of ideas. Of course, lots of ideas don't pick up, lots of ideas don't get started at all. But whatever is started has been mostly successful. Most of the entrepreneurship programs has been successful. So if everything goes in a proper channel with proper judgment, it will flourish to fill up the space, right? Entrepreneurship development programs inspires innovation, creative ideas, and provides a new solution to problems.